He killed them instantly.
Lives lost, families torn apart.
There's just always that empty spot.
Just one choice can turn into tragedy.
Getting behind the wheel impaired is an individual decision. And unfortunately, we have too many people that are making that decision in Wisconsin.
So what needs to change? Tonight, NBC 26 launches a new initiative to try to make our roads safer. Good evening, and tonight, the beginning of a new focus at NBC 26. We're taking on drunk driving here in Wisconsin.
And we're calling it Project Drive Sober. It's a commitment from our company, our entire station, to reduce the number of times we report that another person has died in a drunk driving crash.
This is something that we have not done before. And instead of us telling you why it's important, take it from the people whose family members have been killed.
It was a Friday afternoon.
August 14th, 2015.
July 11th, 2009.
The dates come easy. It's the comfort that does not for the people whose family members have been killed in drunk or drugged driving crashes.
It was the most horrific night of our lives.
According to the DOT, there were more than 6,000 alcohol-related crashes last year in Wisconsin. 169 people died. That's compared to an average of about 230 deaths per year statewide over the last decade.
And I understand that addiction is involved. We're talking about alcoholism is a part of the problem, especially for the repeat drunk drivers, but nobody's addicted to driving.
And that's the idea behind NBC 26's Project Drive Sober. It's not about drinking. It's about drinking and driving. We're hearing from state lawmakers, from police, and of course, from the family members left behind.
The impact on motorcycle is up there, and I believe there are 4 passengers in the Suburban.
We had to go back home carrying my husband's suitcase, and we're minus one person. It's so surreal going back in the house. It's been a nightmare ever since.
Paula Patoka's nightmare started summer 2015. Watched a repeat drunk driver hit and kill her husband. She and her children were in a truck, her husband Roger on a motorcycle driving in front of them.
It happened so fast. We go from happy and singing the Beatles to, oh my God, the guy's coming across the road.
De Pere's Tony Garvey was the oncoming driver. He died as well. The crash was in Shawano County. The Patokas were 10 minutes from reaching their destination, a vacation. Instead, where they ended up is their new life, without Roger.
We had to bring his suitcase home, and I just kind of walked around the house like, what do we do now?
The idea of Project Drive Sober is to have fewer families having to ask themselves that question. We'll also ask, why do some convicted drunk drivers keep getting arrested? Garvey had at least 3 drunk driving convictions before he slammed into Roger's motorcycle.
It didn't have to happen. It was a choice that guy made.
Another choice these families talk about is the choice lawmakers have. Will Wisconsin remain the only state where someone's first OWI is basically a traffic ticket? It's not a criminal charge.
Something's got to change because this isn't right.
Green Bay Police Sergeant Mike Netzger has been working for that change since his stepdaughter Ashley and her friend Talia were killed in a 2008 crash. On charges involving alcohol or intoxication, Henrietta Geske was either acquitted or had the charges dismissed. But she was convicted on 2 counts of first-degree reckless homicide, and a judge sentenced her to 80 years in prison.
We had another good family friend of ours who had lost a child say that you have become part of a club that nobody invited you to. And it's true.
That club counting these families as members.
They don't have a father anymore. They miss him very much. Very much.
It never really goes away. I mean, there are always reminders. There's always the empty chair at a holiday celebration or a birthday.
There's always the sadness of or this wonder, what would he be doing now?
It's Sergeant Netzger's job to be on the scene when new families are forced to become part of that club.
And I pray to God I never have to knock on another door, but I'm sure I'll have to.
The hope behind Project Drive Sober is reducing the chance that Sergeant Netzger or one of his colleagues will have to knock on your door. And we heard Paula Patoka in that story talking about bringing home her husband's suitcase after he was killed in a crash. She says she still has his clothes kept together at their home.
And part of Project Drive Sober is showing you what police are seeing. And in this series, we include what's going on around the state.
Here's Rebecca Clough now, right there alongside authorities on a busy night in Milwaukee.
Make the wrong decision and you could end up here in the back of a squad car.
You guys ready?
My photographer and I rode along with Milwaukee County deputies to see firsthand what happens when you decide to drink and drive on Wisconsin roads. We meet up with Deputy Lacey Gary around 10:30. It's Friday night. Game 6 of the NLCS is just wrapping up at Miller Park. So is the Bucks home opener at Pfizer Forum. Deputy Gary is on OWI patrol and has one goal for the night: get drunk drivers off the road.
We're just going to hover in the hot spots, which is basically the Marquette interchange.
Not even 5 minutes into her shift,
hold on a second.
She hits the gas to catch up to a car.
I'm trying to catch that car without lights on. That's a standard OWI.
So that's a pretty typical DUI.
We get a lot of people that are intoxicated that forget to turn their lights on.
She finds weed in that car.
It's the only thing in the car.
The only thing in the car, ma'am.
All right, give it to me.
But because the driver isn't impaired, he's allowed to go with a ticket. Over the next few hours, we see cars cross into other lanes.
Okay, the reason I stopped is you have a lot of problems staying in your lane.
Blow traffic lights.
You just ran that red light.
And weed into traffic.
You're all over the road.
Oh, really?
You're not staying in your lane, you got your blinker on.
Some of the drivers aren't drunk, just distracted.
When you have groups of traffic like this, you're looking for the one that is obviously driving different than everyone else.
It doesn't take long, though, to find an impaired driver.
3-7 dispatch violator.
This one still in his Brewers jersey.
How much you had to drink tonight? A beer, that's it.
Drivers who smell of alcohol or drugs are taken out of their car and questioned.
I ain't gonna lie, I try to eat some of the weed, you know what I'm saying?
You ate some?
Some then go through a sobriety check.
When I tell you to, you're gonna pick either foot of your choice, it's up to you. You're gonna lift it 6 inches off the ground.
This man struggles to hold up his foot.
Yeah, he was actually leaning on her push bar of her squad while he was trying to balance.
Another can't walk a straight line.
3-net heel to toe.
Both men are eventually given breath tests.
And blow. Go, 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 go. Sir, do you know what the legal limit is in the state of Wisconsin? What does that say? 0.148. Okay, turn around, face my car for me, please.
And just like that, their car is towed and they're heading to jail.
Are you frustrated when you're on OWI patrol and you see so many drunk drivers in a night?
It is frustrating because we're out here every weekend and people know we're out here. Initially, I think when I first came out here and started doing OWIs, I was surprised at how many there were out here. But now that I've been out here so long, it's almost normal, unfortunately.
According to the Department of Transportation, 1 in 10 Wisconsin residents have been convicted of at least one OWI. To put that into perspective, Miller Park holds about 42,000 people on a sold-out night. That means more than 4,000 fans have been convicted of an OWI.
We still get a lot of first offenders. Still people making the choice to drive in. I mean, I'm sure it's not the first time, it's just the time they got caught.
Deputy Gary says even getting one driver off the road is worth it.
It makes you feel good to get somebody that's been drinking off the road before they hurt themselves or someone else.
Some of the people you saw were arrested, but they're presumed innocent until proven guilty. Now, deputies tell me they see most drunk drivers on the roads on the weekends between 1 and 3 a.m., but it can happen at any time.
And while police can increase patrols in any given area, sobriety checkpoints aren't allowed in Wisconsin.
As far as what's next, this isn't a 2-part series, a 3-part series, a week-long series. It's a long-term investment in taking on the issue of drunk driving.
And NBC 26's Matt Jarko is going to be leading our reporting on this. Again, we're calling it Project Drive Sober. Matt is lining up stories right now for the months to come. So Matt, what can you tell us?
John, we're going to be looking at this issue of drunk driving from every angle. We'll look at the current laws here in Wisconsin and ask, does that contribute to the problem? Then we'll talk with members of law enforcement, legislators, and prosecutors about any changes that they would like to see in the laws. Finally, we'll be looking at the consequences of drunk driving. And for that, we talked to people who have seen it firsthand. People like Marla Hall.
Worst day of my life.
November 2nd, 2016, the day Marla Hall lost her only child.
I think about it every night before I go to bed.
It was that day in 2016 when Clinton Hall was in the car with his fiancée and 2 others. Court records show Bryson Wills was driving on the wrong side of the highway and hit the car Hall was in and another car too. Together, 4 people died.
And at 5 o'clock in the morning, the police came to notify.
Making it even harder for Marla is the wait for justice. Records say Wills had a blood alcohol level of 0.184, but a judge has ruled Wills incompetent for trial, suspending the case. As the wait for justice lingers for Marla, so do the memories.
This locket is my son's fingerprint, that they took his fingerprint, and some of his ashes are in there. Since I've had it, I don't take it off. So it stays with me.
And coming up this Tuesday night, we'll be taking a much closer look at Marla's story. And then in the weeks that follow, we'll be taking a look at other stories as well. Each Tuesday night, bringing you a different side to the issue of drunk driving. In Green Bay, Matt Jarko, NBC 26.
Okay, Matt, thank you. And again here, the whole idea behind this Project Drive Sober is to work to reduce drunk driving in Wisconsin.
There's drinking, then there's drinking and driving, which is a choice. We're looking for your take, your story ideas for this project. You can call us at 1-866-WI-SOBER, or you can send us an email, drivesober@nbc26.com.
And you can find all of the stories in this series on a special section on our website. That is NBC26.com.